I'm Piano Man. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Welcome to the long run with an honest tongue. Justified, opinionated when the topic comes. Don't give a piss about nothing but tide. Honey be on my mind and I keep that pride. Stroke still strong, last name long. Roll tide, roll where the truth belong. West Virginia born, working hard in my soul. Still got that steel town grin and I take control. F them trees, yeah I said it loud. Go Steelers too, got the whole room proud. Love that college game, love that Friday light. Love them real world problems and we talk all night. We bring that fire gumbo daily. Stir it up, don't play me. Bishop on the forge by fire away. JB got the whole room crazy. Latoya in the mix, can't tame it. Twist to keep the freight line moving. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? I'm back. Yep, for the next hour or so, we're gonna try to make it happen. See what's going on with the goings on. How y'all doing today? Hey, glad to see everyone back in the chat. Well, excuse me, welcome to part 2, show 2 today of the long run. Day 1 of SEC Media Day is in the books. I can say I survived, and I'm going to say this: it was very, very informing, and I'm going to say something. I'm going to say this. There's a couple of things I want to say before I start, and it's a couple of things I want to say before I start. But before I say that, let me get down with the get down. I want to say welcome to Jacory, Roll Tide, my friend Vols, M for M. What's up with you, man? I was looking at your coach there, Coach Hypel, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But welcome to the show. Truthful Jones, Roll Tide to you. What's going on, girl? What the business is, you know. Quit playing and act like you know. What's up, Dennis Kohler? Roll Tide to you. DSGB 84, my brother out of Georgia, representing them dogs. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Keith Holcomb, good to see you, and Roll Tide. Good to see you. Tony Canada, my other friend from Tennessee. Well, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers in just a few minutes. Lady Latoya, what's up with you? What the business is? You know. Quit playing and act like you know. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Let me see who else. Okay, I think that's about it right now. That's all I'm seeing. Hey, Anitra, Roll Tide. What the business is, Anitra? You know. Quit playing and act like you know. You doggone right, Jacory. It is gumbo time. Yes, it is. It is gumbo time. Yep. And I hope everybody has had a great day. I hope we can have a great. Hope we have a great show, and everything. But I want to start off by saying, now, I welcome everyone's opinion. Yes, I am an Alabama fan. I want to get that first and foremost out. But I want to say that I am not per se an Alabama show. I'm pro-Alabama, and I sort of cater to Alabama, but I include everybody. Okay? So I'm not necessarily an Alabama show. I'm not. That's not what the business is for me anymore. But I will report them, and I'm going to treat Alabama like I treat everyone else. But I am a fan. Okay, so let me get that out the way. I told you all when I came back from Senior Bowl that I was no longer going to approach this show anymore as a fan of just one team. I'm going to approach it as a fan of the game, but I'm going to be a lot more analytical. Okay. So that means that I have to discuss things objectively all the way across the board and call it fair, call it even. Now, do I still love my team? I will always love my team. But when I'm sitting behind this mic and everything and doing what I do, I have to be fair to everyone. So to all my Tide fans and everything, please forgive me today. Don't get upset. But today, this evening, yes, Alabama was discussed indirectly because today was not their day at Media Day. Today was Oklahoma, it was Missouri, it was Kentucky, and it was Tennessee. In that order, that's how it went. If you watched SEC Media Day today, that's how it went down today. So all of the teams were discussed in every facet, in every way. They were all there. But today, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, today was their day. Starting with Brent Venables, I want to get some things going and everything. And I want to say this. There is a strong upside for Oklahoma. I'm going to be honest with you. There is a strong upside for Oklahoma. They realize that Alabama game, and in talking, they had an interview with John Mateer, had the interview with Brent Venables, and Brent Venables was presenting to the media and everything. But let me tell you something, Alabama fans, that playoff loss still stings them. It does. It does. There's nothing they can do about it now. There is nothing they can do about it now. But the one thing that I noticed that they talked about is that they addressed areas in which they knew that they needed to they needed to come up in. So one thing that they did that nobody talks about too much is the fact that they hired Jason Witten as their tight ends coach. And according to Brent Venables today, he is being like lights out there. Great teacher, great coach. He's teaching those tight ends all of the aspects of what it takes to, I'm just sort of just kind of putting it all in a capsule here. He's teaching those guys all what it takes to be a good tight end. And one of the things that they talked about today was their focus on blocking, which signifies that Oklahoma, will feature more of the running game. Now, their wideouts came back. Let me get my Bible. Here. Here we go. Livingstone. Let me see. Peter Livingstone's going to be there. Santiga's going to be there. Who else is going to be there? From the wideouts, just Livingstone, Trell Harris, Elijah Thomas, Jamerkel Carter, just others are going to be there, okay? But they also put some emphasis on their O-line. That O-line is playing cohesive, or that's what they're planning on doing and everything. Oklahoma is trending in the right direction. Oklahoma is trending in the right direction. They really are. I know that a lot of people, and listen, let me put I want to say they are projected to win like 7 or 8 games. Don't be surprised if Oklahoma wins more. I'm just saying now, don't be surprised if Oklahoma wins more. Also, what's happening with them, you're seeing a maturity come about with John Mateer. I'm just being honest. We got a few minutes to discuss because there's some things I want to go off into, and I just want to show you something. John Mateer is picked up his game. One of the things that he said out of his own mouth in the interview is that he's learning how to play quarterback. You'll say, well, he's been playing quarterback. No, every system is different. There are things that you do and you don't do as a quarterback, and he's learning. He's learning. Okay. His mechanic, he's worked on his mechanics. You can even tell it in his mannerism when he was describing how you throw a football and what your arm is supposed to look like and where it's supposed to be the positioning of your hand on the ball, the positioning of the forearm and the elbow, where it's supposed to be, all that kind of stuff. If you have SEC Network, 9 times out of 10, they're going to show the replay somewhere along the line. Go back and listen to everybody. I just jotted down some high points. He seems a lot more confident, but however, and on the other hand, not only is he confident, Mateer is very learnable. He's teachable. He's learning. He's open to suggestions, but he's also open to training. You can tell it in his mannerisms. So with that being said, he even talked about, along with Brent Venables, they talked about the importance of the running game and the improvement of Mateer from a mental aspect, how he's approaching the game. This is why I went on, and I told y'all this morning, and I'm still going to stand on it. I still believe Oklahoma goes into Georgia and upsets them. I believe that. Will it be a runaway? No, it's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a defensive game. That's going to be one of those trench games. That game is going to be won and lost in the trenches. Just saying now. But I believe you're going to see an improved Oklahoma offense, especially from a running perspective. You're going to see an improvement. And let me see, let me pull it out, get my Bible out. So let's see. UTEP, Michigan, New Mexico, Georgia, Texas, Kentucky, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and then they close at Missouri. So will I sit here and say Oklahoma goes undefeated? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Oklahoma's going to be better than they were last year. That's how I see it. And I brought away a key statement that Brent Venables made, and I think it applies not just to football, but it just applies to life. You can get a lot accomplished when you don't worry about who gets the credit. Bam! That's like a moment. You can get a lot accomplished if you don't worry about who's getting the credit. It's a team effort. And so at this juncture, y'all, Oklahoma is more improved, is seeking to improve the team. So when I look at Oklahoma, John Mateer last year threw for 2,885 yards. Torrey Blaylock ran for 480. Does that sound familiar? Isaiah Centigna received for 965. Kip Lewis had 76 tackles. Peyton Bowen had 2 interceptions. Sound familiar, anybody? Sound familiar? It should. Bishop's been saying it for a minute now. Alabama and Oklahoma mirror imaged each other. It really did. But will they improve? And I want to say this. Let me look at the team here. Here we go. Last year, quietly, now check this out. Quietly, Oklahoma averaged 31 point. I want to do some comparisons here. Here we go. Last year. Here we go. All right, watch this. Here we go. Oklahoma last year, points per game, 31.2. Alabama, 31.7. Total points, Oklahoma, 405. Alabama, 475. Total touchdowns, 38. Alabama, 56. See what I mean? Just a couple of numbers here and there. Alabama, Oklahoma are mirror imaging. Now, here's another thing that I want to get at, and it's not just dealing with Oklahoma or Alabama, but it's also dealing basically with everybody. And let me look at the SEC as a whole. I know we're talking about Oklahoma, and I'm gonna get to the next team that was interviewed today, but I want to show you something so key, and this hopefully will help us all, regardless of who your team is, wherever they fall in on this list. It'll help you understand why some of the rankings, the preseason rankings, and even when the official rankings come out, it might help you to understand why some of them are the way that they are. Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Florida, Kentucky, Missouri. They all have one thing in common on the offensive side of the ball. All 8 of those teams have quarterbacks that will be starting first year at that school, whether it's by coming in off the bench or transfer. 16 teams in the SEC, right? Half of them have new quarterbacks. Half. Which means Georgia has a returning quarterback. Mississippi State, Ole Miss have returning quarterbacks. Oklahoma returning quarterback. South Carolina returning quarterback. Texas and Texas A&M and Arkansas. A lot of times we don't like to hear that, but it's true. And that's part of the reason, Bama fans, that's not the sole reason. That's part of the reason why Alabama is not being considered for postseason play, or, and which I still believe Bama's going to be better than what people give them credit for. But I'm also telling you, part of the reason why that they're getting such low grades or not much pub, or however you want to deem that, because of one thing: quarterback. But you know what? I'm going to say this, and let's bear this in mind. Ty Simpson was a first-year quarterback last year, and he didn't do half bad. I went back and looked at last night. Again, Alabama versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin came into that game 2-0, undefeated. They were not yet ranked, according to what I saw last night, because there was no number sitting out there beside them. Wisconsin was not ranked, but they did come in 2-0. Alabama was 1-1. Okay, and that, so Alabama in that game looked like world beaters. Remember, they had just come off of that ULM game, and the next week they played Wisconsin, who was supposed to have been stiffer competition. Alabama beat them. Alabama beat them. Sure did. Bama beat them. Bama beat them. First year quarterback, though. Then Bama goes into Athens. You know the rest of the story. So I'm not saying that's going to be that the first year quarterback thing is going to be a downfall and everything, because it takes more than quarterback to play the game. Everybody has to come on board. But this is going to be what all of those teams that I named that's with first year quarterbacks, it's going to depend on what the rest of the team does. That's what it is. And so as each week goes on, they're going to have to get better. They got to get stronger. They've got to get better. But just bear all of this in mind, that there will be mistakes. Who said that? What's it? Drinkwitz, whichever one of the coaches was talking about the quarterback play, and they said they already know there will be struggles. There will be struggles. I'm just being honest. There will be struggles. They're going to be struggles. Get that. The one thing I have to give Will Stein credit for, he's not a delusional coach. He's not a delusional coach. He talks about the fact that he knows that there will be instances that Kenny Minchie will struggle. There will be struggles. There will be struggles for whomever starts at Tennessee. Faison, Stop, or let's see, where my boy at? Stop, McIntyre. Yeah, that's his name, McIntyre. George McIntyre, Ryan Staub, Faison Brandon. One of those three out of Tennessee will get the starting quarterback position. Now, the funny part about Tennessee is that these guys are young. These guys are young. But who's going to get the starter? That's going to be up to the coach, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. And so the story goes. But they have a dude back there by the name of Deshaun Bishop. And they've already sort of made it known that yes, running the football is going to be important. And this is why they put a lot of emphasis on the O-line. So did Oklahoma. Oklahoma, going back to them right quick, Oklahoma understands the fact that you got to run the football. And guess what? Brent Venables has already said, we're going to run it more. Because we realize that this is how it's going to, that's how it's going to take to dictate the flow of the game. Not just passing, but you got to run the football. Everybody that came up there today from an offensive perspective, they talked about the importance of running the football, establishing a ground game. To be quite honest, like I said, if you go back and you watch it on your own time, to be quite honest, there was very little emphasis placed on the passing game because they realized what a lot of us have been saying. Not that they didn't know it in the first place, but we don't know. We don't know because we're not in there. All we see, listen, I'm going to say this. All we see is what we see on Saturdays and what we hear, and some of what we hear is not true. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Some of the stuff that we hear is not true. I'm just saying. Some stuff that you hear is not the truth. But running the football. So one of the things that OU was doing was that they talked about running the football and how they're going to improve on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense from a line perspective and a running back perspective, to take a lot of the pressure off of the quarterback and trying to do too much. Because that was, somebody put it in the chat this morning about Mateer, and they said it even on SEC Media Day, that he does not have to be Superman. Just make the play that you're supposed to make. Let the play do what it's supposed to do. That's how that works. And I believe that you're going to see a much improved Oklahoma team. And I'm still going to stand on business and say Oklahoma goes into Georgia and beats them. I believe that. I believe that. I really do. I believe that. The next team that came up was Eli Drinkwitz. Let me tell y'all something. Me and Ken, the Bama fan, were talking over in Let's Talk, and he and I kind of see this eye to eye. Eli Drinkwitz is that coach. He shoots straight from the hip. He don't sugarcoat. He tells you what's what. He tells you he's just the business. Let me see something. I want to say, I think I wrote something down right here. Man, I took a bunch of notes today. But one of the things Eli Drinkwitz said is that he's not for a committee having a committee to decide about who and who don't go to the playoffs. Don't put nothing in the committee's hand. Don't allow a committee to do anything. As a matter of fact, he was, if you're going to expand, he's for play-in games. That's how he kind of put it. But don't put it up to a committee. He said it publicly, committee. That's what he said. I like Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz also talked about let's Tennessee. Let me move back. Here we go. He also talked about the return of Ahmad Hardy. And if you have any of the sports venues on your devices and everything, you'll see where today it said that Ahmad Hardy has been medically cleared to come back. Well, in the Missouri protocol of things, there's the 5 to 8 weeks, which may put him there by the time opening game starts. He may be there. He may, but he's been medically cleared to play. As we all know, he was a victim of some gun violence. He was shot in the leg, and everything. But everything is good to go from a medical perspective. Now I think it's all about working his way back into football shape. Okay. But don't forget, Missouri has another running back by the name of Jamal Roberts. And you've got Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, and you're going to have a young man at quarterback by the name of Austin Simmons. Now you have to begin to look at Missouri in a possible different light from an offensive perspective. If their O-line gives push like they did for Hardy last year, along with Roberts, but now you've got a quarterback back there who not only can spin it himself, but he's a thinker. And Eli Drinkwitz talked about that today, that sometime Austin Simmons' intelligence level gets him in trouble. Now, he didn't go off into a lot of detail about that, but for those of us that watched Austin Simmons play when he was at Ole Miss, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's a good quarterback. Injuries got hold to him, and when injuries got him, Trinidad Chambers came in, and we don't have nothing else left to say about that. So with that being said, they are going to continue to focus on running the ball, but they're also depending on Austin Simmons' intelligence to get the ball out and to distribute the ball in the right way and everything. Now you're going to have to look at Missouri if they can put it all together on both sides of the ball. You can't count Missouri out. All of this, everybody, all of this is wait and see. Now, when these coaches be talking and, you know, you go back and you look, and then I open up my Bibles and I see this, that, and the third, a lot of stuff makes sense, but the games are won and lost on the field. All I'm saying is from where I'm sitting, this could happen. Missouri could be a factor. And if you look at their schedule, here we go. Looking at their schedule, they start off with Arkansas Pine Bluff. They go to Kansas. They play Troy. They go to Mississippi State. Florida comes to them. Texas A&M comes to them. They go to Ole Miss. They go to Arkansas. Texas comes to them. They go to Georgia. And mind you, a couple of years ago, on a few years ago, on one of Georgia's runs, Missouri came the closest to beating them. They did. Then you have Kentucky, and then Oklahoma comes to them. So Eli Drinkwitz is not running from anybody either, but he's just one of those coaches that's shooting straight from the hip. And he made the statement and said that he does not view himself as a voice of the SEC. He just one of those guys who's passionate about what he does, who he works with, all that kind of stuff, and he wants what's best for those guys that have been entrusted to him. I like Eli Drinkwitz. Now, will they do everything that I think they're going to do? I don't know. Just like I don't know what Alabama's going to do. I don't know what Oklahoma's going to do. I don't know what anybody's going to do. Shucks, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing. I know what I be planning, but we don't know. All we can do is say, this is what we hope. Just keeping it real with you. This is what we hope. You don't know. Just because you think it, that don't necessarily mean it's going to be that way. Just because a person thinks Alabama's not going to be good, that's not going to necessarily make it true. Games are won and lost on the field, but all I'm saying is that a lot of these coaches are very confident in their team. And here's another coach in Eli Drinkwitz who says he's focusing on running the ball, just like Oklahoma. Let me pull something up. Let me pull something up. Let me pull up something. Just a second. Here we go. I'm pulling this up, and here we are. Now watch this. I want to show you something. Missouri Tigers stats from last year. Remember Bo Prabula? Remember him? He threw for a whopping 1,941 yards. But watch this. Ahmad Hardy ran for 1,000 649 yards. But check this out. Check this out. Jamal Roberts, his counterpart, ran for 753 yards and 6 touchdowns compared to Ahmad Hardy's 16 touchdowns. See what I mean about running the football, running the ball. So they combined, for over 2,000 yards. Even though Ahmad Hardy was that dude, and Jamal Roberts understands that. But he also understands what he brings to the game, what he brings to the table. He was the one representing Missouri today, Jamal Roberts. And he bragged about Ahmad Hardy, but he didn't sell himself short either. And so together they make an awesome tandem. Kevin Coleman received for 732 yards. But their next top receiver was Donovan Alugabold for 401 yards. So with that being said, Missouri is looking to pad their stats some more. And with Austin Simmons, it gives them another weapon. Let me just put it that way. It gives them another weapon. I'm just saying. It gives them another weapon. I'm excited about what I heard today coming from other teams. It gave me joy and pleasure, and I got some more things on my iPad. I was recording. I'm going to do some more and transfer it over to my phone, and I'm going to do some shorts about it, about different teams and things like that. I'm expanding my brain a little and everything, but I'm just going to say this: the SEC is going to be fun to watch this year. I believe that. Because when I get through talking about these coaches, then I am going to get to Greg Sankey about some things that he said. But I might just wait to do that tomorrow, because Greg Sankey had a 45-minute speech. And he was talking about some things, and I know some people are upset with him, and I can understand. And but after listening to him, I'm still sort of perturbed by it, because I'm not perturbed by more or less what he said, but one of the hosts on SEC, the SEC network, that was doing SEC Media Days this morning, said something that I didn't quite agree with. And so when I get through with talking about Kentucky and then Tennessee, then I'm going to get to some more incidentals, and then y'all can just continue to come in with the questions and this, that, and the third. I'm by myself, so I can't. What's up, Thomas Brasher? Tough as nail. What the business here? Yeah. Now, tough as nails, it should be, but the realistic thing, it's not. The reason being, think about what's around them. Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas. Think about that for a minute. Arkansas. Sometimes kids don't stay in state. They don't. It should be. Now, logically, the logic of that, it should be, but it's not. Mississippi loses talent all the time. A lot of times, it's a twofold reason. A lot of times, some of the Mississippi talent leaves, tough as nails, is because Mississippi, sometimes certain schools don't recruit these guys. And when their tape gets out, a, a team from out of state gets them. AK Deer. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But they should be dominating, but they're not. Because you still have those other schools in competition. And then the second reason, some kids just don't want to stay in the state. But I see your point, and you're right. Thomas Brasher, what's up with you? What's up, Double L? Good to see you. Ken the Bama fan. You was on it today, too. I like Drinkwitz. I'm glad you hit me to him. And I sat down and really listen. I sat down and really listened to him. And he's pretty cool. I like him. I like him. I like him. I like Drinkwitz. I really do. I like him. I like him as a coach. And he's a good coach. He's a good coach. I love those guys. And you know, and I love his sarcasm. It's called dry humor. I love it. You know, he just, you know, things that Drinkwitz say, you'll catch it going down the road sometime. It have to hit, it'll hit you later on what he said and all that kind of stuff. Puts you in the mind. He's on the opposite end of the pole. If you remember, Ken, the Bama fan, you remember Mike Leach. Mike Leach had that type of humor, but he was just one of those matter-of-fact type guys. But that's Drinkwitz, one of those matter-of-fact type guys that just comes across. What comes up comes out, and you know, no harm, no foul. That's Drinkwitz. I like him. I really do. I like him. I really do. I like Drinkwitz. He's a pretty cool character. But he is honed in on the fact. So back to what I was saying. So Missouri offensively, Missouri is aiming to improve on the passing part of the game. The passing part. That's what they are seeking to improve by, and then they're not going to take away from the running game at all. You can't take away from the running game, and you got Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts back there. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. No way. And also the coaches were talking about being physical. They talked about being physical. So I'm going to say this, Bama fans. We were not the only ones who talked about the lack of physicality. The other coaches were talking about it too. You know, I'm just saying. Physicality of the game is still there, and it has to come back. But they talked about being physical. But the Missouri Tigers are seeking to improve on their passing game, their running game, their defense, but especially, like I said, on offense, they got a quarterback who brings more options to the table from just that position. Now you have to treat Austin Simmons as a valuable threat. He's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. So Missouri, Oklahoma, everybody's seeking to improve. And in their eyes, they think that they got their guys, this, that, and the third. And so, like I said, from here on out, y'all, we can talk, we can do this, we can analyze this, that, and the third. It's all going to be wait and see. Wait and see. Wait and see. That's for any fan base. It's going to be wait and see. saying. Let me see who else. I see Lady Latoya. Hey, Gwen Quince, what the business is. Yeah, Duffers there, Mike the Pirate. Vols, I missed his comment because I was trying to get ready for the show, but I'm going to go back because I'm going to tell you what, and this is no put down on anybody, but there was more talk about Lane Kiffin off the, like off the set and all that kind of stuff. There was more talk about Lane being there and Sark on the last day than you heard about anyone else. People are waiting on Lane Kiffin. What does Lane Kiffin have to say? But yeah, it will not surprise me. And I'm gonna tell you something else that they talked about too, is Lane Kiffin's return to the Grove when LSU plays Ole Miss. So him having to go back to Tennessee, those going to be the two places. Bino, if you listening, Bino, we might have to make a trip to the Grove, and we might have to make a trip we might have to make a trip to Neyland Stadium, because we might have to protect Lane, Bino. He might need our services for the low price of, and we talking about a piece. We're talking about, a piece. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. They're gonna have to pay us separately, Bino. So we're gonna have to we're gonna have to negotiate with them, Bino, because I think I see trouble on the horizon, and so we the only two that can handle that. But yeah, Vols, Hypo was very good today, and everything. And I'm gonna come up with him in just a minute. But I'm going to the next one right quick, and that's the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky Wildcats. Here we go. Here we go, right here. Now, Kentucky is another squad. Here we go. Kentucky is another squad, and I know, I get kind of laughed at. When I was on Twitter while I was watching SEC Media Day and accessing some things over there, and someone asked me, what did I think? They put in the Kentucky caption, how much will Alabama beat them by, or will it be easy win? I said, no, it will not be an easy victory. I believe Alabama will struggle in that game. Just being honest. Because of the setting and because of the situation. Remember, I told you, both Kentucky and Alabama will have that quarterback thing in common. See, people are forgetting about that between Austin Mack and between Keelan Russell, neither one of them have started. It's going to be a different ball game. Kenny Minchie was in a quarterback battle with C.J. Carr at Notre Dame. I kept trying to remember where I heard that name before, and it hit me today. Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame transfer. So he goes in and he's the one to start in position. Now Kenny Minchie is going to bring a particular different dimension. But the other thing that I like about Will Stein is just like Drinkwitz. He's not delusional. The one thing that I want to do something right quick, and I was intending to do this, and please forgive me. I was intending to do this right quick. Right quick. Okay. Here we go. Okay, where did I put it? Okay, I might need to back up just a little bit. There we are. Here we go. I'm visiting the site. And if you got the SEC Media Day schedule, now I want to go back to doing something. Let's rewind the tape for just a minute. I want to pull up some quotes of Brent Venables. I want to pull up some quotes of Brent Venables. Brent Venables said, here we go. The question was asked of Venables, how will you replicate the success of last year's defensive line and the offensive line challenges? Here's what Brent Venables said. We returned 4 guys up front. Last year, we started 3 freshmen. What happens with freshman guys that haven't played in the SEC? Their first snaps in college. You're not as confident, aggressive, strong as a 4th or 5th year guy. There's the timing, the cohesion. A year ago on offense, we had 9 first-year starters. This is Brent Venables now. This year, we've got several returning starters, give or take 7 or 8 guys coming back. Up front, we've got 4 returning starters. We have one of the most experienced portal tackles in the country in Emarian Harris to add to the group of those 4. Jake Melkula, a year ago at this time, he had just gotten on campus from Stanford. Went several months without being in the locker room, preparing his first year away from Stanford in the SEC. I think there's going to be a better version of all those guys. Check this out. I think they're stronger, more confident. There's more chemistry, cohesion. Certainly, there's an experience factor. Wait a minute, excuse me. Let me make sure. Yeah, there's an experience factor, what it takes to be better in the SEC. Make no mistake, we've got a lot of improvement to do there offensively speaking in being able to run the football. We have to run it a heck of a lot better than we did a year ago. I believe in not only them, but the other parts around them offensively. Now he says defensively, I don't take anything for granted. He says we lost 4 really good players up front, 2 at defensive end and 2 at defensive tackle. He says a year ago at this time, David Stone, a very highly recruited guy coming out of high school, top guy in the country, proclaimed him, wrote stories about him, might be a bust, things of that nature. He didn't listen to any of that. He just put his head down and worked and had an outstanding sophomore year. Taylor Wine is a guy coming into the summer. He comes to see me, one of the lowest paid guys on our roster, a guy that we offered his senior year in high school in the playoffs. He asked me if he could get some incentives. I said, why don't you worry about playing first before we worry about that? All he did, Taylor is becoming all SEC player and led our team 7 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. I say that to remind certainly myself, but everybody, that every year there's a new storyline when it comes to players, emerging players coming out of nowhere. And he goes on, and then another question was asked about him last year. You came in the season without a lot of hype on the team. This year, quite a bit more. How did you use that to your advantage last year, and how do you replicate it since the buzz about your chances are much higher? Brent Venables saying, I'm not going to read as much, but he said, yeah, I screenshot the list and stuff like that. Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. But we're at the bottom of most lists. I don't know what lists are out there, but most of them. Listen, we focus on things that we can control. Brent Venables, do you ever use that as a motivation for a guy to maybe humble a guy? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, this is a game of performance. This is a game that's about the work. And this is a game where it's decided on the field, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. More questions and all that good stuff. So that's the point that I was making about what these coaches are saying, what these players are saying. Here's something else. I talked about here's Eli Drinkwitz again. Here's his quotes. I'm gonna get these replays too. Come on now. Here's Drinkwitz. I'm gonna get to a question of his. I'm just picking a random question that they asked. Wow. Come on. Okay. Here we go. And this is something that was asked question 1 about Drinkwitz. Drinkwitz says, well, it was asked of him, you were an early adopter of advocating for a really large playoff. More people seem to have come around to your side in the last year or two. What's been the reaction you've gotten from your SEC peers about that? Watch this. Drinkwitz. This is where Ken the Bama fan said he was shooting from the hip. He said, I was so appreciative of Commissioner Sankey's positive remarks about me, and I really don't want to say anything that's going to make him mad at me. But I'll say this. I was one of the first to come up with an idea, and somebody totally screwed it up. I want to say this. I am not for, wait a minute. And somebody screwed it up. I want to say this. I'm for expanded opportunities for schools in the playoff. I just think when you have 138 Division I playing schools, we have to have more opportunities and access to the playoffs. I am not forgiving. This is what I was trying to tell you earlier. I am not for giving the committee more opportunities to put teams in the playoffs. As nice as I can be about it, committees are a bad idea in deciding on who should get in sports arenas. Sports are meant to be played and decided on the field. He goes on to say, my idea last year or suggestion last year was about play-in opportunities. I think each conference should have play-in games that create the opportunity to get into the playoffs. He said, that's how I see it. I think it would create more excitement, avenues for your fans to be excited. He goes on to say, I think if the top 8 teams in your conference had the opportunity to play in the playoffs, that gives you a measuring stick for each fan base. That makes sense. I think the elimination of conference championship games, while I understand it as an opportunity to help you win the national championship, doesn't make sense because it puts too much emphasis on a singular outcome. So he's for the expanding of the playoffs, but from what I'm reading, he's not for conference championships. That's the part that I'm against. To me, you play to win your conference. What's the use in you calling yourself an SEC conference if you don't play a conference championship? Talk about opportunities. Talk about fairness. If that's the case, let's consider Duke. Duke, ACC champion. I'm just saying, but these are all opinions. These are all opinions. And like I said, you can go and, if you're in the Discord, all of this is in the Discord. It's there. It's right there. You just have to access it, find it, and read it. You'll see what everybody said today. Now I'm going to go back to that was Missouri. First one was Oklahoma, and that was Missouri. Now let me go. Then that was Eli Drinkwitz. Now let me go to Will Stein. I love what Will Stein said. Here we go. Will Stein, blah 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 blah. A whole lot of talking that I'm going to the question and answer part. Now, here's one thing that I wrote about Will Stein in my notes. He referred back to his coaching high school. There's a passage of scripture that says, despise not small beginnings. He referred back to those days of learning at high school. So one of the first questions that they asked him was, I'd like to know, what did you learn at Lake Travis to prepare you for where you are today? And what maybe you learned about the University of Texas football and maybe Texas A&M. Will Stein said, yeah, I mean, one of the great joys in my life was spending 2 years with Hank Carter at Lake Travis High School in Austin, Texas. It taught me how to call plays. I was put in a situation where they already won 6 titles, I believe up to that point. A coaching staff that was veteran, seasoned, knew what winning looked like. Key point. Got to go back to that. A coaching staff that was veteran, seasoned, and they knew what winning looked like. When you hear a coach talk like that, that coach a little different. It's just a matter of time. Now, I'm not going to say that it will happen at Kentucky, but if they keep at it and they win, what does Stephen Hicks and I say all the time? Winning settles everything. Winning settles everything. It really does. Winning brings in a lot of stuff for you. Winning. So with that being said, he said, he just talks about what winning looks like, and he brings that same attitude to Kentucky. He's not being delusional or anything, because he talks about someone brought up Mark Cuban. I'm not going to get off into that, but watch this. He said, you had a couple of transfers from Texas, C.J. Baxter and Bo Barnes. What do you take on those two? Stein says, I'm sure you know them personally as well. Both phenomenal people, number one. I'm very impressed with CJ just from the mentality standpoint, what he's brought to our offense, a veteran leadership, a guy who has played at a really high level. Obviously dealt with some injuries, something I'm really excited. He says, running backs is a core position on our team. The best teams I've been on have been able to run the football. So excited about him, what he brings not only on the field, but off the field. Bo has crazy talent. He has height, weight, speed for the position. It's a matter of building him up, giving him belief that he can go out there and play at a high level. Been very satisfied with satisfied with Jay Bateman, my defensive coordinator, what he's been able to do without backers. It's a younger core, but I think very talented. And then his question was asked, and this, like I said, if you in the Discord, you'll see all of this. Just press on and go from there. But it goes on to say, you've had some pretty massive upgrade with talent at the offensive line. You brought in a lot of players with a lot of starts at the high school level football. What is your expectation for the offensive line this year? Will Stein. I mean, expectation for every position group is to play really well. Very excited about them. Very. The last 3 seasons, I've been fortunate to have 3 elite offensive lines with draft picks and Joe Moore finalists. This group in particular is as talented as I've been around, all the way across the board. We did bring in some guys with a lot of experience, height, physicality, size. The Big Blue Wall is something that is talked about constantly within our program. The legacy of Coach Sharman, what he was able to do as a player and coach at Kentucky is on our walls, in our building. This is Coach Stein again. To be able to run the football when it matters in November, when games are of the utmost importance, you have to have an offensive line. People talk about the quarterback play that I've been a part of the last 4 seasons. But look at the O-lines that they had, or the O-lines that we've had. There's a reason why there's good quarterback play. Yes, those kids have played really well in the heat of the moment, but the offensive line has protected them. And we've been able to control the line of scrimmage, running the football. Excited about Lance, Tegra, Colston, Alaus. Remember, Alaus Linden, Alabama, transfer. Malachi, Mark, Jordan, Max Anderson. We have a whole slew of guys up there that I think we can play winning football with. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, here's the coach. I was just telling y'all earlier. Here he is telling us, running the football. All the coaches that were at the podium today, whether it was in their pregame remarks or whether it was in their answering the questions of the media, the battle cry today offensively was running the football. Running the ball. That's what they were talking about. Running the ball. Alabama's second game is against this very Kentucky team. Running the ball. I think it's going to be a good game. Do I think Bama win? Yep, I do. But that's going to be the game that I believe that for both on both sides of the ball, Alabama's going to cut their teeth real good to go into the next week. But first, you got to take care of East Carolina. But that's going to be that second game, Kentucky on the road with new starters. Just your second game. Now you're going into an SEC hostile environment. Why? Because you're Alabama. They're going to come at you. They're going to play you harder. That's just the way that goes. Just being honest. So, like I said, there's more that he said. And then, let me see, that was Oklahoma. There's Missouri, and there's Kentucky. And then, okay, they don't have Coach Heupel's comments up yet, but they're coming. They're coming. And I will probably start off with that in the morning. But one of the things that I did take note of, and I want to remind you, and let me stay with Kentucky for just a couple of more minutes. Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, Dante Moore. Those are the guys that Will Stein, he coached them. Did they win a natty? No, but those guys were good. And if you go back and you listen to it, I'm telling you now, go back and listen. He talked about Dante Moore and how he believes Dante Moore is going to have a good year because he's a good quarterback. And that's what he's planning on doing with Kenny Minchie, trying to develop him. That's where development comes in, developing, listening, showing them what to do. I'm going back to John Mateer. That was all that what I was talking about, the mechanics and things like that. That's a part of development. That's a part of it. Honing your craft, getting better at it. That's what has to happen. I'm just saying. That's what has to happen. And so maybe later on, if I'm, I have an event tonight, but get back on. But I'll probably just wait till in the morning and talk about Josh Heupel, and then we'll talk about tomorrow. But anyway, he talked about the importance of or the importance of Kenny Minchie. That offense is going to be run through him, and then you got C.J. Baxter, and then you also have, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have Nick Anderson as well. Let me see. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I get that right. Let me see. A, B, C, D, F, G. Don't want the yeah, Nick Anderson, wide receiver. So it's not like Kentucky's not going to have quality players. It's just going to be a matter of them putting it all together. And when you look at their schedule, once again, they're going to play Youngstown State, and then second game they play Bama at home. They go to Texas A&M. They play South Alabama. They go to South Carolina. They play LSU at home. They go to Oklahoma. They play Vanderbilt at home. They go to Tennessee. They play Florida at home. Go to Missouri, and then they end with Louisville. So I'm just saying it's not going to be easy for Kentucky under no circumstance. But they do have a coach that's establishing confidence already. So what I do believe is that unless a team goes in and overmatches them or overpowers them, Kentucky's going to be in some ball games. Might not win, but they're going to make you know that you've been in a game. But I've been saying all the time, for Bama, that's the game that's bothering me. If we were playing Kentucky later on and be established, then, I feel a little better. But that's your second game, first SEC ball game, and you're on the road. But I will say this. That's going to be the game. In my opinion, for Alabama, to me, that's going to be a signature game to show how grown up you are. I still believe in the Alabama Crimson Tide. I still believe they win that game. And then we go to Tennessee. Now, this one was fun to listen to. Tennessee has a three-way quarterback battle. Like Alabama has two-way, Tennessee has three. George McIntyre, Ron Staub, Faison Brandon. Staub is a transfer from Colorado. George McIntyre is a redshirt freshman, and Faison Brandon is a bona fide freshman. And Josh Heupel was high on all of them. But I think he's leaning more towards Brandon, because there are some things that Brandon is bringing to the table that the other two really don't. And I think that's what Heupel is looking at. But he is letting everybody know it's got to be one on the field. It's got to be one. Let's put it this way. He likes Brandon. He likes what Brandon brings to the table. But I'm just saying, man, it's got to be fought out. It's got to be one. So when I look at the SEC, everybody, and you sit down and you just, like I said, Tennessee, Bama, LSU, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Florida, Kentucky, Missouri, with those first year quarterbacks and everything, getting used to a system. Now, the one thing about Auburn, I know Bama fans not going to like this too much. Auburn sort of has an advantage. What's the advantage? The advantage is that Golish brought Byron Brown with him. So in that particular instance, sort of gave him a head start. Now, does that mean that he's going to fare well against the rest of the SEC or who all he plays? No. I'm just saying that far as the quarterback goes, he understands the system. Now, he hadn't faced not one defense yet. So I'm not going to be so quick to say, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Like I said, way back up in the conversation, we don't know. When September the 5th comes, then you'll start putting the pieces together. And even on that day, one win, one loss does not define a season. But it'll tell you where you mess up and what you can improve on. So whether our teams win or lose on September the 5th or whenever you're playing, that's not going to define your season. That just means you lost a ball game and you have to clean some things up. And even if you win a game and you struggle, yes, you won, but you know you have to clear some things up. And some of these teams are young. Tennessee's going to be one of those squads. But if Tennessee can run the ball, and I put down, yes, here we go. Tennessee is returning 58% of their offensive production from last year. They're returning half of their offensive production. But the main question is going to be the quarterback position. I'm just saying. And they're bringing 62% of total production. So they were 7th in the SEC in total production last year. So, like I said, one big question mark for everybody. And that's what's going to make it so fun to look at. Josh Heupel is happy in Tennessee, but I'm going to say this, and if Governor's listening, Governor, you're going to like this. A question was asked of Heupel about losing to Vanderbilt. I can't say it like Governor. But losing to Vanderbilt. And he said, yep, losing to Vanderbilt was not good. Tell y'all something. I don't know what all they told Vanderbilt, but whatever was said up there, when you have your big brother saying, yep, losing to them ain't good, and the pressure was on, that means Vanderbilt is no joke. That's all I'm saying. Gone are the days that you just show up because you're you. And everybody just, not anymore. The transfer portal, as it's been exposed, has changed a lot of minds, and it's changed a lot of folks' confidence about themselves. And the places that they were once slacking in, they're not slacking anymore. They're powerful now. They're good. They're better. Teams around in the SEC all of them have really gotten better to a certain degree. It's all about putting it together. Now, somebody's got to win, somebody has to lose. And there will be losses. But that doesn't make the team trash. Some teams just have more Jimmys and Joes than the next team. That's called competitive depth. That's what that's all about. So today, let me see what else. Beating Vandy is important. Let me see what else the notes did I take. Oh, and they talked about their partnership with Adidas. Oh, yeah. And he talked about, remember that guy, TK Keys, I was telling y'all about from my home city here. Keys then got up there in Tennessee, my bad. I'm sorry. Got up there in Tennessee and is making a lot of noise. Freshman. Making a lot of noise. Now, I'm going to say this. Teams like that might not get it done this year. But if they stick together in the future, that's where it's going to be. And Alabama's included in that future. Being honest with you. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm just saying. So, but they bragged about the Adidas, and the reason I thought about it is because TK Keys has a NIL with Adidas as well. Just saying. And not only was he asked, someone else asked about, I can't remember. No. My bad. He was, Josh Heupel was asked twice about Vanderbilt. Tennessee's not supposed to lose to Vanderbilt, just like Alabama wasn't supposed to lose to Vanderbilt. But we did. So the question is going to be, as far as Vandy goes, will they bring that same Pavia energy this year? Will they bring that? What will that look like? What will that look like? So again, I say, this first day of SEC Media Day was nothing short of information. But I want to say this. Of the 4 teams that was interviewed today, or, today was their day, remember, Bama plays 2 of them, Tennessee and Kentucky. May I tell you something? Last year, we played Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Missouri. This year, we play Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia. Well, you know the schedule, but from who was interviewed today, this year we played Tennessee and Kentucky. And I believe you're going to see some good games, but I still believe Alabama wins them both. I believe that. Which leads me to this. Go back to here. Let's go back to here. I like the way y'all lighten that Discord up. That's cool. And hopefully, and whoever you see, let them know we are. We would love for you to subscribe to our channel, and we don't meet strangers. We just meet other friends that we don't know about. which leads me to this right here. Greg Sankey. Greg Sankey. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing. Like I said, if you're part of our channel and you're part of the Discord, go to the Discord and you'll see, and because I forwarded everyone how you can get into SEC Media Day, and it's right there. I made it accessible for everybody. I'm not selfish. I want you to know just what I know. So when we talk, you can bring something to the table. But this is something Greg Sankey, and I'm going to read some of it, not all of it. But like I said, go to the Discord, pull it up, read it for yourself. Here we go. Good morning. Good to be with you here in Tampa on a Monday morning in July. A few people like me have had travel experiences Sunday and Monday. Appreciate the dedication of those who are here. He goes on to talk about, he says, well, let me read it. This is the first time to hold our event in the Sunshine State and here in Tampa. Tampa has become home to the SEC for a number of events. Back in 2009, I was in a job search for another commissioner's job, and my decision-making has been proven to be wise. I didn't jump at that chance. That was 2009. Our men's basketball tournament in 2022. We played our men's basketball tournament here as well. Our women's golf championship has found a home in Bel Air, Florida, Pelican Golf Club. That happened since 2024. The ReliQuest Bowl is one of the longest standing relationships we have in the Southeastern Conference. We added the Gasparilla Bowl to our postseason inventory just a few years ago. We look forward to the college football playoff national championship returning here to Tampa in 2029. All of that is a tribute to the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. It's their work that brings us here today. Blah, 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 blah. And here we go. I will note, break the first piece of news this morning. The next year, SEC Football Media Days in 2027 will return to Nashville, Tennessee. Those dates will be July the 12th through the 16th. And he talks about some more stuff. Here we go. Now, let me get with it again. Our institutions have had to navigate historic levels of change while continuing to provide outstanding educational and competitive opportunities for our student athletes. That means that on the field, we experienced a conference record 13-team national championships. Our previous high was 10. We have 22 sports in which we sponsor championships. Over half of those right now are national champions. We place more teams than any other conference in the college football playoff. While we didn't achieve the ultimate destination of a national championship, the strength of this conference in football is clear. When you go beyond football and look at postseason participation in NCAA championships throughout our sports inventory, it is typical that the Southeastern Conference teams fill most or the highest number of teams represented in those brackets. He says those accomplishments are extraordinary. They're a representation of the commitment made by young people who choose to enroll in our universities, both to be educated and to fulfill their competitive expectations. The work of our coaches, the dedication of our athletic administrators, and the leadership at the president, chancellor board level throughout our conference. Now watch this. He said the change that I referenced at a historic level included navigating implementation of the House settlement that a year ago was very much brand new. We also continue to invest in the student athlete experience, medical support, mental wellness care, and initiatives, leadership development. Today, we launched an even more extensive education program around sports wagering to try to help young people and our staff members avoid the pitfalls of what is becoming more culturally accepted around the areas of sports gambling. Y'all know I went off on, I had a tirade about that a couple of months back. As a league, we added over 1,200 new scholarships. Those are not football scholarships. Those were in sports other than football. Over 700 of those are for women. Governor, here we go. You're going to like this. Over 700 of those are for women student athletes. That came from Greg Sankey this morning. Dealing with the state of the SEC. That's one of the most positive changes from the House settlement that has been missed. The opportunity to increase scholarship numbers and provide full scholarships in sports, typically Olympic sports, that used to be partial scholarship environment. Skip down. He said, one of our greatest responsibilities is to establish a stable national framework for college athletics. For more than 6 years, those of us in the conference office, the leaders on our university campuses, Southeastern Conference student athletes, and policymakers have worked in good faith, seeking the return of national standards through federal legislation. And he, like I said, he talked for 45 minutes. I don't have the time to go through all of it, but if you access the Discord, his whole speech is there. We'll talk about it later. He goes on to talk about how the government is, you just get in the Discord, read it for yourself. Or if you watch the SEC network and everything, the QR code comes up, you know what to do, and you'll have it for yourself. I just made it accessible for those in the Discord who may not have been watching it at that time. I put it there so they could see. But that was part of Greg Sankey right there. All I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, the SEC, I believe, is going to be in good hands. It's going to be okay. But the other teams around us, as far as football goes, the other teams around us have just gotten better. Which leads me to my last thing for today. And I got in the Discord about this morning. Me and a couple of others, we were talking about it. And Governor Icebox, Ken the Bama fan, we were talking about this. Now, Ben Watson made a statement that I understood his premise about what the Big Ten does. I got that about playing of the 9 games. But when you go, and I did not do this today, and I really don't have the time now. But when you go and look at the strength of schedule for every SEC team, I want to show you something. And I sent this. It's in the Discord too. Let me scroll down so I can have it right here. I think it. Yeah, here we go. The toughest strength of schedules in the FBS. Now watch this. We went over this a couple of weeks ago, but here at SEC Media Day, they made a caption of this. Arkansas has the toughest schedule. Number 2 is Oklahoma. Number 3 is Texas. Number 4 is Kentucky. And number 5 is Ole Miss. The first 5 toughest schedules come out of the SEC. Number 6, Mississippi State. Number 7, Florida. The first 7 teams. Anybody want to take a stab at who's number 8? You should know. Ohio State. Then number 9 is Texas A&M. Number 10 is South Carolina. 9 out of 10 teams, the SEC has the toughest strength of schedule in FBS football. Out of 10 teams, 9 of them come out of the SEC. That's all I got to say about that. And when Ben talked about and said that, well, the SEC, now mind you, Ben comes out of Georgia, but he talked about how, like I said, go back and watch it for yourself. He talked about that the SEC shouldn't have no problem, basically paraphrasing, in adopting this. But last year, and this is where Bama Hater and I have a difference of opinion. And I want Bama Hater, if he's listening or whatever, I want him to know I understand your logic. I got your logic. And I'm not refuting your logic, but please hear me out. Alabama, check this out. Alabama, the SEC last year, before I jump, the SEC last year had 11 teams in the national play. I mean, in the top 25, 11 of them. They had 11 teams. And Bama played 9 of those teams. Bama played 9 of those teams. They played 9 of them. Now, Bama Haters' thing was Miami did the same thing. No, Miami didn't. That's not to say that Miami did not play ranked teams. Miami did not play ranked teams on a consistent basis. The SEC teams did. Oklahoma did. Remember now, Bama played last year. Bama played Oklahoma. Bama played South Carolina. Bama played, who else was up in that? Who else was up in that joint? Oklahoma. Auburn was ranked there at the beginning of the season. South Carolina was ranked. Bama played 9 teams that at one time or another ranked in the top 25. Bama did. Oklahoma did. South Carolina, Texas A&M did, because the majority of the SEC was ranked in the AP top 25 off and on. Here's what the crazy part is. Here's my part that I like. I sort of like. Check this out. Alabama loses to Florida State. When Alabama loses to Florida State, Alabama dropped from 8th to 21st. Then what ends up happening is Notre Dame loses their first 2 ball games.
Yeah.
When Notre Dame loses their first 2, when
Go
Notre
lay down.
Dame, Bishop,
Go lay down.
Bishop, can you mute? Gotcha. When Notre Dame loses their first 2 ball games, how far did they drop? They didn't even fall below Alabama. Alabama had to work their way back into the top 20, back into the top 15, all right? And even when they did that, on a bye week, when they got ready to face Georgia, Bishop, guess what happened? Alabama dropped. They dropped. With how do you do that? So I'm not gonna say it was an Alabama bias. I don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like that. They just made it hard. But what did Alabama do? So when Alabama lost to Florida State, Alabama Bishop turns around and beats ULM, then they beat Wisconsin, then they beat Georgia, then they beat Vanderbilt, then they go on the road and beat Missouri, then they beat Tennessee, and then they won 8 straight games before they lost another one to Oklahoma, and should have beat Oklahoma. Should have beat them. All I'm saying is that when you look at the body of work of an SEC team versus a Big Ten team, I'm sorry to those guys out there that be calling it in the SEC studio. I'm sorry, but to me there is no comparison. There's no comparison. What's up, Bishop? Good to see you, Bishop. I'm about to get out of here in a few minutes, but I went over the SEC. I talked about Oklahoma. I talked about everybody and everything. Right now, I'm just ranting and raving and all that kind of stuff about Greg Sankey now, which now I understand his point a little bit, but it put him in a precarious position. But I'm going to say this. And one of the reporters up there said it today, and it's one of them things, Bishop, that things that make you go, And I'm about to bust your bubble. Ask me what Greg Sankey didn't talk about.
What did Greg Sankey didn't talk about?
I'm glad you asked. He did not put to rest the rumors or the suggestion about the SEC becoming its own entity. Wow. He did not address it.
Right.
He did not put that. He didn't put that baby to bed. He did not say anything about what's the word? How you want to put that? He didn't do anything to quiet that.
Right, to silence the you know how that goes. Hey, I understand. Remember how I explained to you that they'll show you one hand, but ultimately what's needing to be talked about is what's behind his back. And so if he's not talking about it and yet everybody else is, that's because he knows that's easy marketing. If you guys are talking about it, I don't need to address it.
Just saying. And I'm just going to say, Bishop, to be determined.
Yeah.
This is why I tell you all from time to time, Bishop, and you say it, I say it, you, especially us, you know, hold up. You and I both say it.
Yeah.
When you talk about documentation beats conversation, this is why I'm of the firm persuasion, step outside of the boat. Go and look at these things. Go listen to what these guys have to say. Go listen to them. Go listen to them. You will be amazed at the things that happened today. The things that were said today. Bishop, I told everybody, and for those that may be watching this and just coming in and this and that and the third, and I hadn't paid too much attention to what's going on in the chat. And I don't mean to ignore you, but I'm on an agenda.
I see you
because I've got an agenda.
Yeah.
I told them from the jump. And for those that's just coming in, I want you to hear this. And Bishop, I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
I told everybody that when I went to Senior Bowl, I no longer was going to get on here and just be straight pro, cut and dry Alabama. What I'm on here for, I'm going to be a forever fan of the game. But now I'm coming from more of an analyst perspective because I see what's going on. After listening to Greg Sankey today, I'm gonna plant my feet and hook on into the ground more from an analyst perspective, because I want to tell you something. That transfer portal is real. It's the real deal, Holyfield. It's the real deal. You can talk about it all you want, but that transfer portal, Bishop said it best. I'm gonna say what he said. I've been saying it. Some people still don't want to hear it. It's not, NIL is not the problem. The transfer portal is the problem. The NIL is for whomever it's deemed for, but it's not deemed for everybody. I'm just saying now, it's deemed. What's that? The few, the proud, the Marines. Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
Well, put it to you this way: NIL is for the few. You got to be real special to get that. Bishop,
okay, so now you see okay, now you're talking about language, because it's easy to see the top billing because they get the most talk about, because they are the outliers of the market. But ask yourself, if I'm not a 5-star, do I get the same top billing out of high school? No.
Wait a minute. See, I'm on it. I'm on one today. I'm on one today. I'll probably be on one all week, so y'all may as well get ready. I'm going to be on one all week, so I'm letting you start. It's starting today. Speaking of high school, for all these folks that's fussing about why aren't and now I'm coming back to the Alabama thing. Why isn't Alabama and them going after these hitting these transfer portals? Is because they're trying to build it the right way. Let me tell you something. Listen to me. Wait a minute. Listen, Bishop, I took notes, man. I took notes today. Let me tell y'all something. It wasn't even Alabama's day. But let me tell you something. Listen to me now. The name Jim Nagy came up today. Bishop know who that is. Jim Nagy is focused more on retention and recruiting more than transfer portal and NIL. Kill that theory that Oklahoma's doing this and Oklahoma's offering them that and they getting this money and they got that and the third. Squash that. They, and you know who else is following suit and who else is doing it? Alabama is doing the same thing. Why in the world would you go out? Listen, I'm going to do a short on it on TikTok. And y'all might not like what I have to say, but I'm going to say it right now. Why in the world would you want to go out and spend $1 million on a guy when all you're getting out of him right now is potential? Hadn't seen him play a damn. How do you know he's going to be that dude when he gets to college? All because you're paying him $1 million.
Things that make it go, So wait a minute. So hold on. I planted something. I said something. Then I let it grow. and now all of a sudden it's blooming. Do you think fire tests are real?
And they talked about that. Brent Venables talked about challenges today. He talked about that. Will Stein talked about challenges today. See, here's the problem. And you know what? I'm so glad, Bishop, this is my show. I don't care who don't want to hear me. It doesn't matter. People better, I've been saying all along, ever since I've come back from Senior Bowl, it's okay to be a fan. Don't just be realistic. You've got to come to the conclusion that this transfer portal is real. And if a team can hold up, if a general manager can help hold the majority of that team together, think about your future instead of looking just for an immediate result.
And can I piggyback off of that? When
Go ahead.
Family, now that you have the other side to confirm what I share with you, that's why I had to leave it alone, because it needed to germinate. Because see, Quincy Morgan caught wind of what Nagy was doing, and it made sense because wait a minute, he was starting to come into the into Mississippi and Alabama, and he wasn't focused on 5 stars. He was focused on the best recruit. And in their eyes, the best recruit was a 3-star, 2-star, 3-star. And if he's doing that, and he used to lead the Senior Bowl, what is he seeing that we're not? All of a sudden, Quincy Morgan has now followed suit and understand, if I build it with whomever fits, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a 5-star, but I'm not going to hold my breath if they're going to try to hold us a ransom if you got 4 other teams that keep pushing up the deal. And I got this 4-star, 3-star over here that has the same capability, just haven't been to the camps. Then really, it's opportunity cost. Do you want to go with what people have told you would be a 5-star, or is this kid not rated the right way, and you could be the first to actually vet him, and because you vet him and you stuck with him, he sticks with you?
I'm telling you. And so, Piano Man, with all respect, didn't Dabo try it? Yes and no. Yes and no. The no part comes in tough, is that Dabo wouldn't go to fill in holes that needed to be and grab the best player to fill in a hole. He stuck with what he had, which wasn't no bad thing, but it set them back a ways. That's all Dabo is guilty of, is that he wouldn't go into it at all and would not go to fill in a hole with capable players.
And
that's all wrong with Dabo.
And piggyback, tough. Think about this. Brett Venables and his staff were huge recruiters when he was on point. And now they were Oklahoma. And he thought he could just easily replace them, but he's finding that hard to do. And so what you're starting to see also in recruiting is that the kids that had liked what Venables was doing and now shifting their thoughts over to Oklahoma versus Clemson. So yes and no when you brought that up, but understand also that predicated on how important Venables was to Clemson's road to glory.
On that defense side, they were physical, and that's all Brent Venables talked about today. He talked about it. Stein talked about it. Drinkwitz talked about it. Heupel talked about it. Being physical. And I'm going to say this, and Alabama Alabama's day is not until Wednesday. But if you sit back and you begin to listen to them, Alabama, Kalen DeBoer has addressed that, becoming more physical. He realizes that. And this is all I'm going to say to some of my brothers and sisters of Alabama. Quit talking about the past so much. That's over and it's done with. It's done. There's nothing that you can do to change that. It's done. Now, if you're paying attention to what's happening, there's a reason some things happen the way they happen. And I'm just going to leave it like that. There are some reasons, but celebrate a new beginning and leave the past behind.
And I will say this is that a lot of times I don't think we don't see the breadcrumbs or the gold nuggets down the way. Do you realize CBS and ESPN has rated the top 20 strongest schedules? Do you realize 16 of the 20 is the entire Southeastern Conference?
Say that again, Bishop. Say that again.
The entire 16-team SEC conference is in the top 20 of strongest schedules.
And you know what that means, Bishop? And I want to say, was it Jeff? It was Jeff. Jeff said this some months ago. The SEC is geared up to beat each other up. It's geared up to do it. And what happens is that, Bishop, correct me if I'm wrong. If you, like, I'm going back to that 25-team thing again. If we have 25 teams and 11 of the 25 are coming from one conference, and then Ole Miss, Bama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas A&M, 5 teams from one conference makes a 12 bracket playoff. Now that's power.
And check this out.
Power.
And I have an answer for those that say, yeah, but the Big Ten has been winning. Check this out. They winning because they're short thinking, but long-term thinking, what conference is building for the long term now? Now that they know they got to build strong and whatnot, it's our conference, the Southeastern Conference, because we know, forget trying to get to the Natty, you better get out of your conference first. You got to win that. And in order to do that, each component is now have enough parity on their staff that they buy that you can't take them lightly. So if that's the case, then it's warranted that the SEC is second to none, and they know it. And why you think they put the 4 SEC teams in the playoffs against one another last year? Because it's too many of us.
And did an off shift. And let me tell you something. And God help. Let me, here these hypotheticals are again. But God help if Alabama had a beat Indiana and Texas A&M beat Miami. Guess what? At some point, you would have had an all SEC championship. It would have been right back at what they did not want to happen.
And here's the thing about it. It's inevitable, though. They can't, because we're only going to stay down so long until we have to be honest and recognize we got to answer the questions that are before us on our teams. And once you answer those questions, all of a sudden you find yourself in the playoff. Then it's on you what you do with your opportunity.
So all I'm saying is to look at Jeff, barely no running game. O-line was suspect. Jeff, I want to say something about your statement. I went back again. Say it again. I watched Alabama, Florida State. I watched Alabama and Wisconsin.
Yes, you did.
I don't think they showed ULM. Wasn't much to show. But I watched that Alabama-Wisconsin game. At one point, Jeff, they had a running game. At one point, that O-line was on point.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and watch the game. Go back and watch the game. Even watch the Georgia game. Back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the words of the old song by Earth, Wind, and Fire, something happened along the way. And yesterday was all we had. When you go and watch the Wisconsin game, that play that they did a flea flicker to Ryan Williams, and Caden Proctor was leading the charge. Caden Proctor hit a dude, even though it was a mismatch. Caden hit that dude and sent him like 5-8 yards down the field on a block. That's when Alabama began to look invincible. They looked like a team. Yeah, they were still coming with the I call it the garbage stuff, but it was working. Why? Because you had Jaden Roberts out there. You had Caden Proctor out there. You had Wilkin Formby out there. You had Cam DeBerry out there. You had those guys out there. You had Josh Quavers blocking. You had You had Daniel Hill running, but that's not. You had A.K. Deer running. You had Daniel Hill, A.K. Deer, Kevin Riley running. You even had Richard Young running, and the line guy, the guys on the line were creating lanes for them to run in, and they were running with some purpose. But something happened. Something happened. Something happened. Ty was thrown with precision. But I'm still going to tell you this. There were some instances, though, Bishop. If Ty would have just took it and ran, and go on and got at least 3, 4, maybe 5 yards out of it, slid, whatever. What it does for the next play, it makes the defense honest. It keeps them now. We got to account for this dude. Who's going to account for him? And so at one point, Jeff, they had a running game. At one point, Jeff, they had an O-line that was not necessarily suspect, but something happened. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
Now, wait a minute. Now, hold up. Bishop was saying they had the potential, but somebody in the decision-making didn't trust it. Didn't trust it. In fact, felt to go more with a gadget plays and different things versus just running straight up and down.
And so, Jeff, I think what ended up happening was what Bishop just got through saying. The O-line became suspect because you didn't use them right anymore.
And plus, I don't think the O-line coach and somebody else was seeing eye to eye.
I'm going to say this and get ready to get out of here. Bishop.
I don't say too much. I know.
It's designed to go north and south. Why are you running east and west?
There you go.
And Jeff, barely no running game. There you go, right there. It became that. It morphed into that, Jeff. It wasn't like that in the beginning, bro. It turned into that barely no running game. Because I don't call running east and west, Bishop, a running game. I call that gimmick plays.
Well, put it like
Running
this.
game, a true running game is
Right.
up the middle and off tackle.
Right.
That's running game.
Well, put it like this versus Oklahoma and Georgia and a couple others, you're helping out the defense when you're going sideways. And then what happened in Indiana? Once again, another defense that's able to run with you. You're helping them to be successful versus making them make a decision in the hole within the triangle. I'm telling you, you guys were dominating the run game in Indiana. If y'all go back and watch that first two series, y'all were dominating, and something changed in somebody's mindset in the OC, the offensive coordinator room. Something changed, and all of a sudden they went away from it. Not quite sure why, but that's why it's important, though. If we're going to be honest, and we did pick up on that, that's why they have to answer it, and that's why in media day they are talking about it.
Yeah.
They are making sure you understand. Yes, we know we got to be physical, but we also got to play to our strengths. And sometimes we, as me talking about as the old ball coach, sometimes we can get in our own way because we're stubborn. And because we're trying to show you, I just came from the NFL. That has no predicated. That has no predicated. Bottom line is, we play ball the same as you do, and we scheme just as you do. So do your homework and let's go to battle.
So I'm just telling you, go back if you have a chance to. If you go to the, like I said, if you go to the Discord, you will see where I sent you a copy of the media day itinerary, and today, like I said, was Brent Venables, Greg Sankey, Brent Venables, Eli Drinkwitz, and Josh Heupel today, and also Will Stein. Tomorrow, we'll hear from John McDade, and we will hear from Kirby Smart. We will hear from Alice Golish. We will hear from Clark Lee out of Vanderbilt. And we will hear from the one and the only Shane Beamer out of South Carolina. That's the lineup tomorrow. Now, I'm going to be back on here in the morning at 7:30, like I always do. Hopefully, we're going to have some things set up and everything. Because Bishop, my new camera came today.
Oh, snap. All right.
My new camera came today. Oh boy. But I got to run the church here for a little bit, and then
all right then.
I'm coming back to the crib and set this bad boy up. We got to see what we got. We got to see what all
right, hit me
about.
up and let's do a test run to make sure when you get back.
But me and Dwight got to hook it up first.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get with you. But I'm telling you, I be having so much fun with these things. Till now, I have a 4K and an 8K. I'm playing with it. But
I will say this, for a lot of people, you know what the beautiful thing about it is? We get a new season to prove everybody wrong. And I told you, you better get used to being in a phone booth, because that's the only way you're making the playoffs out of the Southeastern Conference. And that's all I'm going to say.
So I'm telling you. And so, and Coach Kalen DeBoer comes up Wednesday morning. So we're going to rush through, for us Alabama fans, we're going to rush through it Wednesday morning. I want to hear everything the old ball coach has to say. But I want to shout out Greg, Greg Sankey. Thank you for saying what the things that you said and everything. Even I'm still mad with you because you got duped into whatever you did. But I understand. I got it. I got it. It is what it is now. But shout out to Greg Sankey. Shout out to Brent Venables. Shout out to Will Stein. Shout out to Eli Drinkwitz. And shout out to Josh Heupel. Tennessee, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kentucky. Shout out to y'all today.
Yeah.
Y'all represented well. And for those of you that may be fans of these schools, you should be proud of your coaches. Because I will say this again, and I'm done. Will Stein is not a delusional first-year coach. He's not delusional by any stretch of imagination. He's confident, but he's not delusional. But Eli Drinkwitz, that's my dude. That's my dude there. Because like I said, you got to have a crazy sense of humor or a different sense of humor to understand Drinkwitz, but he stands on business about what he says and what he means. So once we come to the end of media days, which will be Thursday, when we come back in on Friday, we're going to have a real free-for-all Friday, and we're going to put it all together. This is why I'm telling you all to please watch it. Watch it. Because every day, I'm letting you know, every day this week, with the exception of Friday, but Monday through Thursday, we're having two shows. Two shows. A 7:30 show, and then we'll come back at 3 o'clock. Okay?
Okay.
Or 3:30, because sometimes I'm pushed for time because I'm trying to get every nugget, everything that I can get. And even the post interviews when they're sitting at the desk and they call the coach up, because that's where your real, because let me tell you something, that's where your real info comes, is when they're sitting there talking with Ben Watson, Craig McElroy, Dari, and all of them. That's where your real info comes. When they're standing there talking to the media, it's just media stuff.
Sorry. But Ben Watson, I beg to differ. And we don't like talking about it over here. We're going to just be about it, and we're going to prove it on the field, talking about some Big Ten. We'll prove it on the field. Documentation beat conversation.
Y'all playing a Big Ten team, so you're going to Michigan, your second ball game. So y'all really get a chance to hey, listen, it's going to be like I always say, you either we bout it, because I'm with it.
With it. There you go.
I'm with it. I ain't scared of nobody but the Lord.
Hey, and not only that is I'm letting people know you can sleep on us if you want to, but I've been in contact with some of these individuals, and I told them, you got to understand, if you're not comfortable to be in a phone booth, you're missing the boat. Because there's no way that you can't be comfortable and go win these games if you're not willing to be able to be punched in the mouth and get bloodied up and be able to deliver your blow after getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah, going to have to get on down. So
yeah.
With that being said, Bishop, we're getting ready to get out of here.
For sure.
And everything. Glad to see you today. Glad to see everybody in the chat. But I want to say this. I'm going to say this, and I don't want nobody, but I'm grown. I can about say what I want to say. But here we go. Last night, I was scrolling through TikTok. And Coach Smook was on. He was on.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something that caught my attention. And I stopped and I listened. You can call it whatever, ear hustling, whatever, but I stopped and I listened. And he was right in something that he said. I repeat, just sort of paraphrasing. He said, Coach DeBoer is actually, I'm saying this, Coach DeBoer is actually to be commended in the job that he's done. Because sit down and think about it for a minute. He has not bought in a losing percentage. He hasn't. He has not. Remember now, he's going into his 3rd year. And he's what, 20-8? That's not bad considering the circumstances that he came under and the things that happened in prior times. And now they're getting rid. Now they're actually righting the ship. They're actually steadying the ship out. So I'm asking Alabama fans, and shout out to Coach Smoot for throwing that out there. I know a lot of people might not agree with him and like him and stuff like that. That ain't got nothing to do with him being right or wrong about that information, because he is right. And when you go back and you look up Coach DeBoer's resume over the last 3-4 years, go look at it. You come to find out it's very impressive. And Bishop, I mean no harm when I say this, but he actually did better in his first 2 years than Brent Venables did at Oklahoma.
It's the truth has set us free. Yeah, the truth has set us free. I told you that myself.
The truth will make you free. It'll make you and set you free. But you got to stop looking at just the losses and focus on the whole macro of it. And you'll find out things really wasn't as bad as it appeared. Yeah, Indiana was an anomaly. Michigan was an anomaly. They were. They both finished undefeated. That was an anomaly, but look at what has happened since then. Michigan didn't even get close, Bishop. Just saying. Michigan, when the last time they did this? 20? Yeah. I can't even remember. Michigan, Ohio State, then Indiana.
And you know what?
It was just one of those things, y'all.
That's it.
Don't put your team down. Don't put your coaching staff down. That's all I'm saying in closing. Don't put your coaching staff down, because some things are not as bad as it seems. I will say this, Bishop. You could be Auburn. Oops.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Or you could be Arkansas and have the number 1 strength of schedule.
That means you still looking to be winless in the SEC. Think on these things before you criticize.
16 of them. All 16 Southeastern Conference teams made the 20 top toughest schedules. I want that to sink in.
Wait a minute. And who was number 20? Wasn't it Georgia?
Georgia. Ain't that a trip? And I mean, every 16 team in the Southeastern Conference made that list. What does that tell you? The strength of schedule, if somebody goes through, we are knocking heads, and somebody got to lose, somebody got to win. We are knocking each other out. So by the time they get to the playoffs, they better have went deep and wide. What now going forward, you have no excuses, because we now know, okay, if this is the way it's going to be, then so be it. Then it needs to be starting 44. And that means those freshmen, you're not freshmen. Once you become, you sign, you become ambassadors. And you got to learn the ways of the way and get it done.
So that's it for us. I got to go.
Yeah.
Listen, Be Sharp is having a show tonight, coming right on in about 10 minutes. Hey, go support my brother, do the doggone thing. But just remember, we're going to be right back here in the morning at 7:30 with a pre-show dealing with, we're going to talk about what Josh Heupel said. And then we're going to be talking about what we're looking forward to for tomorrow's SEC with Georgia, with darn it, I said who was it, but Georgia's going to start it off, and you're going to have South Carolina. You're going to have, I forgot who all was up there. We've talking about so much, but we just know Kirby Smart starts off. So We're going to get in and get out of here at 7:30, and by 7:57 we're going to be done, and then so we'll be ready to do what we got to do. At 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we're going to be listening. For those that are up for it, listen all day long. I want everybody to have a great night. Bishop, again, thank you for coming, and
thank you.
I want everybody to have a great night.
Sorry for being late, bro.
Yeah, and just remember to stay focused, drive, and go forward in the name of the Lord. And just remember, you can do all things through Christ to give you strength. Promise you can. And look here, it's okay to be a fan. Just be realistic, all right? And so with that being said, Be Sharp comes on tonight. All my brothers over there, Sharpshooters, Sports Talk. Make it happen, Captain. And we will see you in the morning, the Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. And if the creek rise, I just get a canoe and paddle to where you are.
Salute, salute.
All right. Salute, salute. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you in the morning. All right, brothers, sisters, let's head out. And don't forget, the Discord is always open. See you later, everybody. Have a great night and roll time.
Thanks for watching. Hands up if you tuned in. Thanks for watching. Every single click, every view, yeah, we locked in. From the first little beat to the final option. We just wanna say